for real, it looks better because there is a wider
There's
picture.
more space on this side of me.
Yeah.
Okay, I trust you, man. You're a pro. 300,000? We're not fucking around.
Okay, we're going.
Okay.
Yeah. There is a red button on your microphone. Is this going a red light over there? Please look at it. Yeah, it is. So everything is cool. Okay, people, we have a special guest today. Alchemist. Hello, my man.
How are you?
And Space.
I'm going to do this differently. Look, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, you have to do it.
But then I'm going to go like this because it looks so much cooler. How you like that?
Yeah.
Do you approve?
You're real.
Okay.
I hated this, you know, like 5 years ago, you didn't have to put down the bell, but right now you have to, you know, and they change
It's still
it.
beeping? No way.
No.
Oh, no, we good.
I hope not. No, but you have to put the belt, you know. You can put it behind or however you want it, but you have to. Everything is beeping now, you know.
Are you a licensed driver?
Yeah. Yo, the first thing I'd like to talk, my friend showed me Hooligans. How it came to this to happen, and what was the idea behind whole this song and everything which came out.
I was just young, dumb, and finished the rest. I was a kid. I was 15 years old, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
West Coast, Los Angeles. I was in the right place at the right time.
And how people figured out that it was your idea on this band or somebody else, or how was it?
It was a brainchild of a collective of creatives on the West Coast. And we just put all our brains together and made the Hooligans.
Okay.
And everything, you see, it was like, it was regular at first because we were spelling it regular. You know, this, but when we added the W to it and put a Z on the end, fucked everybody up.
Okay.
I still can't figure it out.
Okay. Was it something like a little kind of an answer on Chris Cross? You put it with the button or no?
Watch it. See?
Was it like a little bit answer on the crisscross?
That's a good, I never thought about that, but yeah. I mean, crisscross was so dominant, you know?
Yeah.
We were really, probably would have been too arrogant to come at that, you know?
Okay.
Yeah,
because, you know, when the friend showed me this, he was like, yo, check it out, the Alchemist, when he was a young, he had this song, you know, I never knew about this, you know, and I was
You didn't know?
No, I didn't know.
You're too young, man.
I would like to be, but, you know, it's not like that, and it's not that I just do know everything, you know, but when I was looking at this, maybe it's, and he...
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
We were a big deal on The Box. You know what The Box is?
Money?
No, it's just a video show that you used to be able to order your own videos.
Ah, okay.
So all our friends would just call and order it.
Okay.
So we were a big deal.
Okay. You earned some money on this?
No.
No? Not really.
Respect.
Okay.
Yeah. That was more important than money.
Okay.
What do you think? What's more important to you?
Respect than money?
Yeah.
Kurna. It's not that easy to answer. Everybody would say, yeah, of course, respect is more important. But when you get older, you come to the point that sometimes the money are fucking important.
You know what I realized?
Yeah.
If you take respect, you put it in a pot and you mix it with water and seasoning,
Okay.
you can't eat it. It doesn't feed you.
Not really. Sometimes it feeds you.
Respect? You ate respect before? Explain. Is it a Polish dish?
Yeah.
Well, tell me about it.
We eat it with the bean.
respecting beans? You're full of shit.
No, man, it's
full of
like
shit.
that. You are in some place and people respect you and they ask you for dinner, for example. So that's the way when respect can feed you, you know. And for example, one friend told me like maybe a month ago, something like this. Do you realize, Wini, that if he is also kind of recognizable person.
Yeah.
And he said, do you realize if we would have a problem right now with, I don't know, with some crazy illness and we would need like, I don't know, $200,000 or something, you know? And you realize that if we would say it on the internet that we don't have the money and it's about our life, we would collect this money probably in 1 or 2 days.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe.
I think so, and he gave me a good reason. He gave me proof, like there was one guy in the hip hop community who needed like 2 million zloty. It's about like $500,000, and he wasn't even that famous. He was just around the hip hop community. They collected this money in, I don't know, 5-6 days.
Sounds like a good hustle.
Yeah, and yeah, it is, but it's respect. It's the people
Well, listen.
paid him because of the respect.
Next time you go to the bank, when you get some checks from some work,
Yeah.
and you go to deposit your check, also try to deposit some respect. Ask them how much can I get for this much respect. See if they deposit it.
Respect is all the time on time, so you know you cannot deposit it. But you know, if we talk about this, there is a film. Russian film. It's called, I don't know how it's called in English. It's like a Brother or something. Brother Part 2. And there is a pretty nice talk, like a soldier is talking about the respect with a businessman. You should see this. It's a very famous scene in Russian movies. You know?
There's a photo, I think it's from a Russian film.
Yeah.
You can look it up online. Just type in soldier in a forest playing a piano.
Okay.
And you will see one of the saddest photos you've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's just a soldier defeated in a forest with snow, playing the piano.
Okay, I haven't seen it.
You got to check it out.
Okay.
It's strong imagery.
And if we're talking about the Russia, do you think in States, do you talk about the war between Russia and Ukraine?
I hear people talking about it for sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What you guys think about this?
We only know what we see. It's hard to know, you know. You got to tell me what's going on.
You know, for us...
But are you the right guy for me to get my info from? 'Cause I don't know.
For us, it's a very...
Big hat you're wearing.
Okay, if you think that inside big hat there is a big head, then cool. Thank you very much.
What's your thoughts on it?
That it's terrible, you know, because we was occupied by the Russia for like almost 200 years. Poland.
Yeah.
We have not a good history with this country.
Yeah.
What is funny, like a lot of people from Poland like the people from Russia. We kind of similar in some things, you know, like the Slavic soul, whatever it is, you know. So we are a little bit down with this, but we always got a problem with the government because the Russia is always trying to make them bigger and bigger and bigger. So right now they put their hands, you know, to Ukraine, and they think like, oh, it was a part of Russia and it's supposed to be. But the problem is, you know, you don't live well in Russia.
You know, there was this movie when I was a kid, and it was called Red Dawn.
Okay.
And it was like, the premise was like some middle America town, and these kids are in school in the day, and they look out the window, and the Russians just fucking parachute in and take over the whole fucking school, and then they gotta hide out in the mountains. And it was like, yeah, as kids, it always had us. They created the Russians as like the villains in the 80s, you know, like Ivan Drago, Rocky.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It was always against
Russian
the
guy.
Russian
Yeah.
guy, yeah.
Russians are tough, man.
They are, but they are also they get always a fucked up government, you know, and fucked up people run this place, and the middle people, like the normal people, they don't have a nice life over there, you know. They got a fucked up life, you know.
Yeah.
Like, for example, when we had a communism, it was the time when the Russia was occupying us, you know. And there was a movie in States, it was a show called Wonderful Years. Do you know this shit?
No.
It was about the 60s in United States, about some middle class people, you know, about the kids. And when we was watching this movie in the 80s,
Yeah.
we was like, what the fuck? Like 20 years ago, they got everything better than we have right fucking now, you know? Like a car, a flat, like everything what people showed us in this movie was like much, 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 much better, you know? So if we still would have a communism, probably we wouldn't met because you wouldn't come here, because we even couldn't pay the money to come, and there wouldn't be even probably a hip hop beat, because it would be hard to catch, I don't know, Akai MPC or whatever, you know.
But what do you think about the usage of the steel drum in hip hop production?
About what?
The steel drum.
Steel drum. What is steel?
The marimba.
Fuck, I don't know what marimba is.
Ding dong ding dong ding dong. It's like a really Caribbean style metal drum.
Ah, okay.
And it's used. It was a famous beat by Kodak Black.
Mm-hmm. What
do you think about the usage of the steel drum in hip hop?
I think any drum you would put in a hip hop could be fucking great. And,
Can be great, right?
Yeah, and I think that hip hop you can make of any music, but any music can be a hip hop.
Do you prefer the snare or the kick? I got to do some. I got to do some background on
Hey, it happens sometimes. People do interviews.
I'd like to know.
I tell you what, I prefer a kick, but I think it's harder to pick up a snare.
Okay. Do you like ass or titties? Which one is more important to you?
Of course, ass.
That's why you like the kick. You know that, right? The kick is the ass. The snare is the titties.
Yeah?
Come
you
on.
think so? And how it is with you?
I'm a snare guy.
I am a snare guy,
So,
but I like a kick. I like it all. I can't choose, man.
Okay. I was thinking about something like this, if it would be a competition between producers. I was thinking one question could be, can you define your style by just one sound? So what kind of sound it would be if you would have to answer on that?
Fart noise. But a long one until everybody's really uncomfortable. Like, okay, enough.
Okay, but it would be a real fart or just
No,
made
like just a simulated one that slowly gets more aggressive.
Okay.
And goes so long where you're like, everyone's looking at each other like, all right, man.
Okay.
This
So-
joke is dead.
But it would be.
Yo, they got the Westfield Mall out here, son.
Yeah, I got it.
No, I'm just paying homage to my man, Fredro, because I know in the interview that he was excited about this. See, I watched your shit, man.
Yeah?
I made sure you were legitimate first.
Okay.
Because I wasn't sure by the hat you were wearing when I met you.
Yeah.
And now you have another hat, which is tripping me out even more.
Yes, you don't like hats?
No, I do, but a man who only wears a hat every time
Yeah.
is danger.
Oh, fuck that. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's a Stetson hat. I like this
Stetson?
brand. Yeah.
Damn, you're old school, man.
Kind of, yeah. You can't call me young, you know, so, yeah.
I have a new song where I say I'm in a Stacey Adams suit with a Stetson hat.
Yeah?
So me and you, we relate.
Stetson hat and an Adidas suit, kurwa.
That's how you do it? What does kurwa mean? I hear that a lot.
It means prostitute, but we use it like we put it between the words, and we say blah blah blah, like shit. It's like shit. Shit.
Kurwa.
Okay.
But
It's
it
not
actually means
exactly-
prostitute.
Yes. Yes, but we say it like this. You know, I hope it's not a problem for you. But
You ever heard the Jamaican term bomba clot?
Yeah.
Do you know where that comes from?
Not really. Somebody explained
Do you
me
know
this
where it
some
came
time
from?
ago, but I don't remember now. Please tell me.
It started as blood clot. I know you've heard that before, right? Blood clot.
Uh-huh.
I'm not Jamaican.
Okay.
I've just heard this. I might be wrong.
No, you're right.
Blood clot comes from the term of a tampon.
Okay.
It was clotting up the blood. It was like a tampon. So it was a term of disrespect. You're a dirty tampon. And then it went to bumbo clot because bumbo's your ass. You're an ass wipe.
Okay, I didn't know that. But you know, using a curva between the words, it ain't no any disrespect. If
Ain't no disrespect.
no, it's not disrespected in any way. It's just like you say, okay, I went that curva and I did this curva match and fuck it, you know, and this and that, and we just put it between the words, you know.
Okay.
Some people
Would
put
your
it
grandmother use the word curva?
my grandmother wouldn't, and she wouldn't do a lot of things.
It's not a nice word,
It's not. It's not.
but it's not a bad word.
It's not that bad.
It just
I
exists.
like it. I think it's one of the beautifulest Polish words anyway.
Okay, I hear it a lot.
Yeah, because
Don't kill
it's,
this lady.
It's really nice. People use
Let me
it.
see your driver's license. Make sure you got a driver's license, man. Is this car?
I didn't kill anybody. Come on.
Is this car? Did you steal this thing, man?
Yeah. I have to make it run over here, you know.
Hot wire.
Yeah, that's what I do. Yo, guys, what you think about the future of the music? I'm talking about AI shit and all this stuff coming down. What you think might be music in 10, 20 years? Like, it's all the time easier to do this. That's the first thing. And the other thing, what I'm asking about, is that there is so many people right now which do a music. It's not too much, you think?
I'm more concerned with global warming. You know what I mean?
Okay,
I'm more concerned with reducing my carbon footprint.
okay.
I don't have time to worry about a robot and if they're gonna make a better beat.
I'm not even thinking about this. I'm thinking like...
Talk to me. What are you thinking?
That maybe people are... got too much problems with it and it's just another tool to use and they shouldn't worry so much.
That sounds good. I like that synopsis.
You read Motown.
Yeah.
And the other thing is what I would complain a little bit. It's that there is so much music that the people don't have a time to come really into something, you know? Like back in the days, I was listening some LP for half a year, for example.
How old were you?
49.
No, when you were listening to your LP for half a year.
I was like even 30 something.
30.
Yeah, or maybe 40. I still got some LPs I'm listening all the time, you know, all around. But yeah, but
Think about it. Think about it. Think about
think
this.
people don't listen.
Think about this. We're on a big fucking rock right now, and it's spinning. This fucking thing is spinning. We're on the edge of a big ass piece of rock. Things are always changing, man. It's always gonna change. You can never get too comfortable. We're on a big spinning rock. Who gives a shit?
Probably people from music industry.
What music industry?
Like hip hop music industry, you know, whatever, you know.
That exists?
I think so.
What is that? What's the hip hop music industry?
Oh, you're a hip hop music industry for example.
Me?
Yes.
I'm not
you're-
I'm not in any industry.
Oh, maybe you don't like the word industry, you know, but you are a part of the hip hop, okay? Or not?
Okay. Yeah, okay. I guess.
Yeah.
Just a guy with a paintbrush. Paint some shit. You know?
Okay.
Make some mistakes. leave them, maybe fix them.
Mhm. What do you think, like the rappers from back in the days, which are dead now, who could be still on time?
All of them.
All of them.
Yeah.
Like you think everybody, like Big Pac, Big Pan, everybody would be successful still?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why not?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Still.
Nobody knows. But
But-
if you ask me what I think, yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Who still could be the most successful of these people?
I don't know. I wouldn't even think like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a competition.
Kind of it is.
Maybe for you.
For you, it isn't?
Nah.
No? Not at
For what?
all?
What's the competition?
Like people try to make a better song, I don't know. Have
That's
a,
we compete with yourself, maybe. I understand that. Yeah. Yeah. I love everybody.
So,
Love. Corazón. You know what I mean? You ever heard that word?
love?
Corazón.
No.
That's
What
how
does
you
it mean?
say it in Spanish.
Uh-huh.
Corazón.
Corazon. What does it mean?
Yeah. Love.
Okay.
El corazón.
Is that
Like 95% of Latin music, if you look at and print out the lyrics, they have the word corazón in it.
okay? I didn't recognize. It's the main reason to do the music?
Not cortisone, because that's like some ointment that you could put on your own.
Okay, cortisone.
Corazón. El corazón.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it just strictly means love. Okay.
How you say love in
Where you-
Polska? Polska,
wh-
how do you say love?
Miłość.
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 When you first got love to the hip hop music, do you remember the time?
I don't remember the exact day, but it was very early.
Do you remember what artist it could be?
Shit, no. What was it?
Kanye West.
Man,
For
you're-
real?
You're young.
You're that young.
Yeah, he's young.
What was it? College dropout or what?
Yes.
Damn, that's crazy.
It shifted my whole mentality. I
Yeah?
liked rap, but I fell in love with it.
Oh fuck. Can I tell you the story? No, because I'm telling this because I was like, when I first heard the college dropout, I was like, oh, they're coming back with the sound I really do like. And I was feeling like the sound is missing for some moment, you know? And right now, I feel in some way like it was just maybe few years ago, but it was like 20-something years ago, you know? And
Time flies.
yeah, it flies as fucking hell, you know? All the time I
Heavy
think.
is the head that wears the hat.
Heaviest is the head with wear a hat.
Is 6 of one, or is half a dozen of the other?
Fuck, my English is too poor, kurwa. I don't get everything.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Okay. Can I tell you?
Keep on moving forward, steadfast. Wins the race.
Can I tell you the story when I first heard hip hop?
Hip hop didn't start anything, it didn't create anything, it reinvented everything. That's a quote from Grandmaster Caz. Do you know who that is?
Yes. Yes.
I had to make sure.
Yes,
That's a quote from Grandmaster Caz. He's a legend. Can we agree to that?
Yes. You know.
Shout out to Grandmaster Caz.
You are the legend as well.
Absolutely not.
No, you don't feel like a
Nah,
legend.
man. See, because if you give me those flowers, I can't take them to the bank.
Okay.
They won't. They won't cash that check, man. We talked about this.
Yes, but so, what would be your answer to that about the respect of money? You like
No,
money more?
my father told me a long time ago. If they start calling you a legend, that's a bad thing. I
Yeah.
was like, what do you mean? Because he's like, then you're done.
You feel like this?
How many active legends are there? Don't you think about it? You call somebody a legend when they hang that hat.
I haven't been thinking about that like that, but no. Would they call I don't know, Kanye West a legend? You know?
I would.
Yeah, and he's still doing music. I would call you a legend, and you are still.
I appreciate it. If anybody ever says that, I don't take it as disrespect. I appreciate it.
You shouldn't, because it's not a disrespect, you know.
But I hear it as, hold on a minute. Give me a minute.
Okay.
You know, you never know what how far you could push it. I didn't think I would be going this far. You know.
Is this a problem for you to take compliments?
I'm in a BMW in Warsaw.
Yeah.
I'm on the way to Gdansk.
Yes.
I didn't think that was going to happen.
No?
You know what I mean? No.
When
just
you were
bullshit.
starting doing beats,
I like hamburgers. I do.
Yeah,
Like, I feel like I'm
you want
special.
one?
I think maybe that was
McDonald's.
subliminal. But nah, McDonald's is not good.
There is a Max Burger down there.
I wouldn't expect a great hamburger here, but, you know, I'm always checking for them.
Yeah?
Yeah, I gotta
Let's check. There is a next premium burgers on our way. We can.
I don't think we have time, man.
They said that we have.
They don't know what they're talking about.
No?
No. They don't make the decisions. I don't even know who they is. We call that the American Embassy. When you see the M in any country,
Yeah.
you just tell the promoter, take me to the American Embassy.
Okay.
And then you show up at the Golden Arches.
And you have to go to McDonald's. And
I would never promote McDonald's.
but a lot of rappers.
It's just
do.
American.
A lot of
It's familiar. Sometimes when you're on the road, you don't want to throw the dice. You know, you end up eating a pierogi or something, and you're hugging a toilet.
Yeah,
before
you
sound
checked
check.
out the Polish kitchen.
No, but I'm familiar with it.
Yeah. What you know from Polish kitchen?
Tell me a couple things, and I'll tell you if I know them.
Kurwa, pierogi, bigos.
Absolutely. What else? Name it.
Bigos, you know.
Come on, man. That's regular.
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay.
What else? What else?
Kotlet schabowy.
Which ones?
It's kind of a piece of a meat.
Yeah, I know
in
which
a-
ones. Which ones?
There's one.
Lamb?
Kotlet schabowy is just a kotlet schabowy. It's made out of the pork.
One of my favorites.
Yeah.
I eat that all the time.
Okay. Hey.
What else? Give me another one.
Of Polish dishes?
Something else. Yeah.
Duck.
Love it.
Duck with apples.
It's insane. It's amazing.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
You eat stuff like that? You got in your neighborhood a Polish restaurant?
Yeah.
Yeah? What's the name of it?
I don't remember the name.
Together like a sandwich, like apples between duck.
No, you don't eat it like a sandwich. It's just a big fucking duck, you know, and they put apples inside or even outside. They make a sauce of this, you know, and you eat it with potatoes, for example. That's a.
You guys eat a lot of potatoes.
Yeah, they have potatoes. I like potatoes.
I like them too, but it's not really a Polish dish. It comes from States, you know, but it will be, again, during the years, fucking popular over here in Poland, you know.
That's right.
And what's your favorite kitchens? You travel a lot, so you probably tried everything.
I like gas station food.
You fucking with me all
I
the
do.
time.
I like gas station food, man. I
Why
like
is that?
Because I'm interested in efficiency. I'm impressed by efficiency, speed, agility. These are things I look for in a meal. You know what I mean? Yeah, so if it's fast, I respect that. If you could be nourished in 15 seconds from a fucking triangle sandwich in a box at a gas station, that's impressive. Or do you need to go to see some chef flip a fillet for 3 seconds and put it on your plate?
Kurwa, I can wait sometimes to eat something fucking nice, you know, so...
Okay.
So...
What do you like to eat? You look like a vegetarian to me.
Is this a diss? You fucking dissing me all the time.
You eat
I
a lot of
feel like
soup?
this.
It looks like you eat a lot of soup.
I feel like you like a lot of milk, you know. Okay.
You eat well, let's say.
Do I eat well?
Yes.
What do you think?
I think you enjoy a meal, a good meal,
Okay.
as you should.
I lost 30 kilograms in the last half a year, you know.
How'd you do it?
Oh fuck, I was eating less and doing more sports, you know.
Yeah. What's your sport?
Mostly bike, you know, and ping pong. You play ping pong,
Ping
guys?
pong is not a sport.
It is.
It is a sport. It's an Olympic.
Now let me take it back. It's not a sport. You're gonna lose weight if you do.
No, they get crazy.
Yeah. For
Who's
real.
they? Him?
The Japanese and all them, they get crazy.
Are you a good ping pong player?
It depends for who, you know. Like if somebody.
For me.
I don't know how you play. You play ping pong?
I'm pretty good.
Yeah. If you're pretty good, probably I'm. You know, if I play
see
with
the
regular people, I'm kind of good. Yo, sorry. There is this Max Burger over here. You don't want to.
No, we're out. Go.
No, fuck
You
it.
ever see the movie Searching for Bobby Fischer?
No. I think I've seen it, but many years ago, so I don't remember very well.
Okay.
So what? There was some ping pong shit over
It's a
there
good movie.
going on?
Nah, it's just a good movie.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You ever see Remo Williams?
Robbie Williams?
No, Remo Williams. It was a movie from the 80s.
Maybe. I always got a fucking problems with.
How about A Fish Called Wanda? Have you ever seen A Fish Called Wanda?
fucking? I don't know. I've seen True Romance.
That was a good movie. That was a good movie.
It's one of my fucking favorites. And you know what else is Fallen? You know Fallen?
Fallen is good, but have you ever seen My Cousin Vinny?
Yes.
Oh, if you said no, we were going to end the interview.
I've seen it, but I wasn't that much.
Don't play yourself. That's fucking cinema gold.
Fallen. That's my best movie.
Fallen?
Yeah.
Or Falling Down?
Fallen with Denzel Washington. About Azazel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't see that one.
No, for real? Kurwa, you got to check
Gotta
it.
check it. All right, we'll have
One
some
of
time.
the best movies of Denzel.
Where Denzel had chlamydia.
What?
I don't remember that one. That's crazy.
They set him up and some girl had sex with him and then he had chlamydia.
That's the premise of the film?
No, that was like at the end, like it was like he was finding out and he was like, "Hey, she gave me chlamydia."
Who's the best Polish actor?
Kurwa, there's not something like this. There's a lot of good actors. But you can ask what film you should say.
What's the best strip club in Warsaw?
Probably Strip Club #1.
That's what it's called?
Yeah.
Well, that was an easy answer. Shit answered itself.
You go to the strip clubs?
No.
No. So you just
I'm just
ask,
impressed by them.
just
The agility.
I'm impressed by eating a dinner in strip club.
You know, they do always have good food. Every strip club is over here too?
No, I don't think so. But I know this
In the
from
States.
American films, you know, and
They
they
have.
eat a fucking dinner in a strip club. And I'm
One of the
like,
best steaks I ever had was in a strip club in Detroit.
Lobster mac and cheese from Tootsie's is
But what the fuck is the idea? You know, it's a strip club.
They
It's
want to
a-
keep your dumb ass in there so you can spend some more money on looking at
Yeah,
tits.
so you know,
Yeah.
maybe I want to look at the tits, but not to eat at this time. Do you eat when you, I don't know,
finish you want to eat.
when you finish you wanna eat?
Yeah.
I think it's a fucking crazy idea. Yeah, you listen to some European music?
Sure.
Yeah? Can you mention some European rappers, for example?
That's a very broad question. Yes.
But who is recognizable in States?
I wouldn't know. You'd have to tell me. You tell me.
Well, you don't know any rappers who are recognizable from Europe in States?
If you say the name or something, maybe, yes. Probably, yeah.
I don't know. I think that some English rappers could be
Of course.
recognizable.
UK rappers, yeah, of course.
Do you rap on some other beats than yours?
from time to time. Yeah, why not?
Yeah? Okay. Would you rap something to our viewers? I always ask this.
If it was your birthday, I would wrap a gift for you.
I had a birthday
Is it
this
your
month.
bir-
I had a birthday this month. It's
shit.
almost like I got a fucking birthday.
Oh man, I'll wrap a gift next time for you.
Come on, let's rap for me. Yeah, I got a fucking birthday.
No,
today.
I don't
Come
have
on.
any. I don't have any raps, man.
No?
Let's see which pocket I left. Wait,
Kurva, I got
I
some
did
beats.
have
I
some
would play
raps,
you.
but I left them in my other jeans.
Yeah?
Shit.
Kurva, we can stand and you take it from your other jeans.
Oh man, we can't. I don't have them. I don't have any raps.
Kurva, much the rappers don't want
don't
to
have
rap,
any
you know.
raps.
I always get mad as the Polish rappers and I tell them the rapper from America would rap and then the kurva come somebody from States. And
I'm not a rapper.
I
I don't have. I may have a bag of pretzels. Do you like pretzels?
Sometimes I like.
I have a bag of pretzels for you.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. I have some.
Has anybody ever gave you a bag of pretzels before?
Yes, the old lady one time gave me.
What about a hot mop? I also have a hot mop. I just finished mopping. It's a little wet.
No, I always stay with the pretzels, so you know. But I got something for you as well. I have
Get
it
out
for
here.
you oil, a cannabis oil, and I have it for you paprikas.
Okay. I like the first one.
Yeah,
I just heard cannabis.
yeah. You will like it. I will give you by
I
the
appreciate
end,
it.
you
You're
know.
a good guy, man.
But
Thank
you have to drink just a half. Don't drink the whole bottle.
What's gonna happen if I drink the whole bottle?
You will
You my doctor now?
You will get stoned as fucking hell.
What is it?
But really hard, you know. Like, do you
Do
you prefer
you know,
smoking
literally
or-
what you're saying is gonna make a person want to drink it more.
What
That's like saying, don't smoke this weed. It's gonna get you really high.
But I told
yeah, I
you,
don't
you
wanna
know,
smoke
and I
that.
told it to some people a few times, and all of them was like that. Okay, so I will drink the whole one, and they told me, okay, I had a fucking night off, you know, so I advise to drink a half of it, you know, and, yeah, it's like that. Do you eat cookies sometimes?
What, weed cookies?
Yeah, with cookies, of course. That's what we're talking about.
I eat hamburgers.
With wheat.
No, I don't eat weed.
No?
Nah.
You only smoke. Do you think you smoke too much or it's just enough as it should be?
Who knows?
I'm asking you.
Bum stiggity bum, diggity bum bum.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yo,
Sometimes I know, sometimes I don't, you know.
it's just like, yo,
No, I'm asking about this because this rap game made weed really put it on the top and people smoke so fucking much. But I came to the point that people at my age, they got a fucking weed problems, you know. So
it's never been a problem to me.
no,
Yeah, that's crazy.
no, never.
Well, if you don't have any weed, that's a problem.
Okay,
That's the problem.
okay.
If you don't have any.
Okay,
Ah, shit.
that's one of the fucking problems, you know. The people who are addicted from the weed, they all the time got a fucking problem when they don't have a weed.
It's not the
What did weed do to you? Did weed beat you up or something?
Yeah.
Damn, he got aggressive. What did weed, man, do to you?
Made me to have asthma, for example.
Oh, that's not good.
No. so,
Okay.
if
Shit,
you are-
bad weed, bad weed. Leave him alone. Leave him alone in his lungs. Damn, look, they got fucking mooses out here.
Uh-huh.
You ever seen a moose?
Yeah, I've seen.
You're lying.
Oh,
He's
oh.
full of shit. You never seen a fucking moose.
I've seen.
Yeah, I don't believe you.
Why?
Because you,
Have you seen a
you twitched a little bit. You have
Have
a
you
big hat
seen-
on.
have you seen a
Everything's not
zebra?
adding up.
Have you seen a zebra?
Don't
It's
change the
like
subject.
a kind of way of a bison.
He means bison.
Bison, yeah.
Bison.
That's the way you call it? Bison?
You never seen a fucking moose. Just be honest with us. It's okay. It's just me and Space Ghost here in the car. We won't think
And
any
right
different.
now I'm starting thinking that I didn't see it, you know. Maybe I was just dreaming about this.
Yo, I've seen a moose.
Yeah,
You've seen one, right?
I think so.
How big was it?
Big as fucking hell.
Yo, they are massive.
Yes.
A moose is not a horse. It's not, yo, when you see it, you know. It's a goddamn moose.
I'm thinking, you know, do you call the moose exactly the same thing I call it? But yeah, I think.
I feel like if we just saw a Polish moose right now, it would be like our lucky day. Like, it'd be like a 4-leaf clover.
The first thing, it wouldn't be on the road like this. You would have to go. You would have to go now through the highway. You would
They
have
got
to,
the sign on the highway that says
Yes,
beware
but-
of moose.
Yes, but they are full of shit. It would be.
No, they wouldn't put that sign there. If they
Maybe it was back in the days, like I don't know, many.
died, they all left.
No, it's just not really at this time. You got to have a fucking forest, you know, and the road is smaller. And also, the most important thing, it's if you see them, probably it's mostly at night.
You say the word moose out here? Is that the word for them?
What's the word?
No, it's not. I think it's. I'm starting thinking this jeleń. Probably that's.
If you see more than one moose,
Yeah.
what do you say? I see. What do you say?
Owen.
Do you say mooses or do you say meese?
I don't know. You tell me this.
I'm
No.
asking you.
I don't know that, man. I'm not born, you
What do
know,
you think?
in a state.
Mooses.
Mooses, I would say mooses.
That's the correct answer.
Yes? Okay. So we have a kind of a English lesson today.
You never seen a fucking moose, man. Nah, he's full of shit.
You've seen a bear?
I've seen what? Look, there's no,
A
no, it's a
bear.
horse. It's a horse. That's a horse.
Two horses.
Okay.
You've seen a bear?
Yeah, I've seen a bear.
Yeah. A snake?
California, you know, there's a lot of bears. Snake.
But where? Just in a forest or what?
Yeah. I've seen a lot of shit. I've seen shit you probably never. I've seen a pterodactyl.
Pterodactyl.
I've seen a lot of shit.
What's the craziest shit you've seen?
A fucking pterodactyl's not crazy enough for you?
I've seen it also, but on a film.
It was nuts. I thought it was a bat. It was just too big. I'm serious.
So it's going to be like that. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Did they have dinosaurs in Poland?
Yes, of course. Of course.
I was joking. That's, of course they were. The dinosaurs everywhere.
You was joking? I was
No, I'm
thinking,
I mean,
I was thinking you
I'm
asking
saying,
for
of course,
real.
there was dinosaurs everywhere.
What they look like? What do they look like?
Like a Mickey Mouse. They got a fucking big ears, you know, and a stupid face, you know. That's yes. That's how they look like. How they look like in the States.
Fake.
What?
They look fake.
They look fake?
Dinosaurs look fake.
They look fake to you?
What is the noise a dinosaur makes? How do you know?
I heard them.
How does anyone know the noise a dinosaur makes?
That was the sign that they made.
How do we know?
I
You know
heard
anybody
them.
that was there?
What?
You know anybody that was there with the dinosaurs? They could tell you, yeah, I heard it. He went, "Rrr."
No, I told you I've seen a film. You know, when in a film they've been doing like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Like,
Fine.
Something like fucking that, you know.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good.
And they had a fucking big shit, you know. That's
Yeah, I can imagine.
what?
What if they spoke English?
They do speak French.
You believe in aliens?
It's not the thing about believing, you know. It's just come from how many planets are in this fucking universe. So probably there is not only life in this one planet, but you can call us aliens. So yeah, I do believe aliens.
That was what I was about to say.
Yeah,
What if we're the goddamn aliens?
we are.
We're the first ones
On this planet.
on this planet.
Yeah,
But in the universe, we're the only species.
We don't know that.
But what, you think that in whole universe we are just fucking alone? It's just the only planet which is...
Who could be that arrogant to think that?
But what if we're
What?
at the beginning?
How could any human being be that arrogant to think that they're the only living thing in the universe, solar system?
Mm,
You know guys like that?
probably I would find somebody like that.
Okay.
They maybe some Christians could
I
come
respect
up.
that guy. You know why?
Well,
Agility.
agility.
That's agility. That's fucking,
Okay.
yeah, that's engineering.
And what do you believe, guys? Do you believe in living after there is a life after the life? Do you believe in anything?
I believe Busy B was set up in the battle against Kumo D. He didn't know that was gonna happen that night. He kind of got, yeah.
I like
And
your
then he said,
way
when
of
Kumo D
thinking.
said, put that bar, Diggy bar, it was crazy.
Oh,
But Busy B was the fucking man. You ever see the movie where he spelled his name on the bed after he won the rap battle? They gave him the money,
No,
and he spelled a big ass B on the bed with his stacks.
I haven't seen it.
Had some chicks in the bedroom.
Are you into battle
It's
rap?
called Style Wars. No, excuse me, Wild Style. Pardon me.
Uh-huh.
You should watch both of those movies.
I've seen White Star. But
Well, then you know Busy B.
But many years ago. But of course, I've seen a White Star. Man.
It's somewhere up in that head underneath that hat,
It's a
in
fucking,
that hard drive.
It's a classic movie.
Absolutely.
Wow.
You know ODB beat Q-Tip in a battle?
No. ODB was a
Call Q-Tip in a
rap.
What's the
Master.
rapper you miss the most from the dead rappers?
This is a recurring theme for you.
What?
You like to revisit the dead rapper thing.
Yes, because I feel like your music is still this classic music. So a lot of these people was doing a classic music. Maybe
Yeah.
that's the way I'm asking about this.
Yeah, it sucks that a lot of people go early, but their music's here forever. And you know what I mean? That's part of the reason we do it. We leave
But-
little breadcrumbs because all of us will be gone, however long, every single person. So
Okay.
we try to leave something behind.
Have you
So,
got
a little-
the rapper you miss a little bit?
All of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do miss ODB, for example. Very much.
absolutely.
I loved his crazy energy.
Yeah, he was the man. Shit, we just lost Biz Markie. God damn. Shit.
Ah, Bismarcky.
That
Yeah, I
man's
was
scoop.
done with the Bismarcky like 1 or 2 months ago. You know, I just releasing his music.
Yep, Biz
Yeah.
was.
Yo,
the
have you been
greatest.
doing music with Redman?
We never worked.
Never.
But that's one of my
I
heroes.
was looking for that.
That's one of my
but
heroes.
I couldn't find out anything.
Red is one of one. He's like, and you can go back to his catalog, and it really stands the test of time. Because some stuff you go back, it kind of doesn't age well. Even
Mm-hmm.
shit you loved. Go back to his run.
He's a skydiver.
He's too good. Redman is one of the greatest of all time. Influenced all of us growing up. Yeah.
What rappers you didn't work with and you would like to?
I don't know. The ones that want to work with me. You know.
For example, Redman would be a good.
Of course.
Yeah?
Sure, I'm sure over the years we spoke at some point about it, but
You have to fucking work together, you know.
okay.
I'm asking about the Redman because it's one of my best, you know, and that's probably why, you know. When I had a short time to check, you know, a few things, you know, I was checking like, this Alchemist did some songs with Redman, and I was pretty fucking, you know,
You were let down.
surprised that
You were let down.
You didn't.
I let you down. I'll try to fix that.
Please,
All right.
please, please. It would be fucking great thing.
Yep. What else you got? That's it?
Yeah, that's it. Goodbye. let's fucking go.
We got him. We got him.
Let's go
He
in
ran
a
out.
let's go in a fucking silence for a fucking moment. Do we have to talk all the fucking time?
Let's just
you
sit
know?
here and drive and just stare. Let's stare straight.
Yes. The
That's,
people always talk, and that's fucking it, you know. That's all I fucking
We
got.
got him, ladies and gentlemen.
He don't have any
Gun
more
is out of
questions.
ammo. Gun
He's
is
not
out.
prepared.
Now what?
That was my worst interview.
This was your best.
the guy.
I think this is going to be your most viewed interview.
You think so?
I got an itching suspicion. I believe so.
You would have to eat the pierogi maybe and drink some vodka, so maybe it would be
Maybe.
more recognizable.
No, this is
you
going to
know?
be big. This is going to be big.
Let's fucking stay on the gas station.
Are you verified on your YouTube?
Verified?
Yeah.
What that doesn't mean?
Do you have like you officially a YouTube guy?
Yeah, of course. I got this kurva, this silver button or some shit.
Oh, they gave you a
know.
silver button?
Yeah, they gave
Good
me.
for you,
know.
man.
But I had to ask for this.
You had to ask?
Yeah, like because they gave it after 100. They probably don't give it anymore because anybody got 100,000 views. I think so. What?
They give it out still.
Yeah. Okay.
100,000 subscribers.
Where'd you get the name Winnie?
Wini. It's not Winnie.
It reads Winnie to an American.
Yes, but it's Wini. you
Now I
some-
know.
Some.
Watch
some,
your tone. Don't be so mean.
I'm not mean. I'm not mean. But some letters we.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's not a problem.
It's Vinny.
Yes, it's Wini.
You could be Italian. My
because,
cousin Winnie.
because it is Italian name. How my name is Vinicius.
You know how I know? Because the record stores say vinyl, but it's pronounced vinyl.
Okay. I was selling vinyls back in the days.
Nice.
Like
Forever vinyls.
by the end of the 90s, I was doing this. I was importing them from fucking Germany and selling them over.
What did
here,
you do after you won the DMC breakdancing competition? Did you continue breakdancing, or was that it for you?
Yes.
Okay.
Check it out.
They said you were one of the best in Poland. They lied to me? No, I'm telling you. They told me you were. Yo, they lied to us, son.
About breakdancing?
They said you were a DMC breakdancing champion in the late 80s, early 90s. This is not true?
I think you joking right
No,
now.
How am I going to make this up?
You're a joker, I see. You joke all the fucking
Dogs.
time. You're checking me out. Do I
Somebody
have a-
told me some bullshit. They told me you were, yes, they said you were an ex-breakdance legend from Poland. It's not true?
For real?
Yeah.
It's a fucking
I
joke.
swear to God.
I swear
So
to
you were not
God.
involved in hip-hop in the 90s?
I was, but I wasn't any fucking master of breakdancing, you
Oh
know?
my God, man. Well, they told me you were the man. So what did you do?
I'm talking with you right
You was an MC?
Well, sometimes I rap, yeah. I like to do this, but, you know,
Okay.
maybe a little bit like you know.
What
I
was the
wouldn't call
name?
myself
What did you go by
by
when
what?
you rapped?
Vinny,
Vinny.
yeah.
With W. W-I-N-N-Y.
Yes.
I gotta look it up, man.
That's how you write it over here. Of
course.
In,
All right, I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah. Yo, you've been skateboarding back in the days.
You know
You
it.
do it still?
A couple of years ago I did, and I fucked my foot up,
Yeah.
and that was it. But in my mind, I could still do it.
Okay.
In my mind, I'm
do you
crazy.
Dream sometimes about this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I have dreams about skateboarding.
yeah. Yeah, it didn't happen for me.
Do you follow this on Instagram or TikTok or whatever?
I like to use like Friendster or Black Planet.
Okay.
This is my preferred social media. So if they post the video, the clips there, I'll see it.
You know, when I was skateboarding like, I don't know, 30 years ago, and when I dropped this, I was thinking that it will never develop more. And right now,
bigger than ever.
when I look at this, I cannot believe that people do stuff like that.
Who was your favorite skateboarder when you were young? So now I know what era you come from.
A lot of, but
Name one.
Kareem Campbell. Yeah.
One of the first black skaters. I think he might was the first on a magazine cover. That's my man, Kareem. Okay, you're from yeah.
Yeah, and this guy, kurwa, Sean Sheffy.
Okay.
And yeah, it was the times I could name like the most of the skateboarders. Right now,
Was it big in Poland, skateboarding?
It's not huge and it's not big as it's supposed to be. I would like to happen something like in Brasilia. You know what happened there?
What happened there?
The government invested in skateboarding, and
that's cool.
they became a fucking great skateboarders. You know, I was at the Münster Master Cup like many years ago in Germany. It was a big contest, you know, and there was every time, you know, all the skaters, all the best skaters was from States, and then 1 year it became a year. Then the people from Brasilia came. And they haven't been weared so cool as the American guys. They didn't have a nice clothes and all of that. But fuck, they've been skating so fucking damn good. And everybody was like, who the fuck these people are, you know? They're so fucking great, you know?
I need you to, have you ever done any like narration?
Narration?
Yeah, like voiceovers.
Yeah, I do something like that.
Yo,
I play in the films sometimes. Come on, I will.
You could have been in working in church as a minister.
I'm working on this too, man. You read in myself as a book. I'm afraid what you will say in a fucking moment that, you know, some fucking embarrassing shit about me or what.
Nah, you're doing a good job, man. Yeah, I love it.
I really want to come out with a church.
I think you can.
I'm
Church
working,
of Wini?
No, of
fucking Church of Wini.
ESSA God.
Okay.
You know, and our rule in our church.
What's your first rule?
Politeness, kindness.
Okay.
Kindness. To be a kind for a person you meet, you don't need to fucking love them.
Okay.
It's enough to be kind at the beginning, you know, and then we will see where it can go, you know.
Okay, how much does it cost?
100 zloty.
Shit, I'm out.
No, why not?
I don't have any money. I want to join your religion.
You have, kurva.
No, let's say
you're
I'm a
famous.
guy.
Okay, you can.
Let's say I'm
come
a
for
guy.
free.
I'm a poor. I'm a peasant. I'm a serf from this, and I want to join your religion.
Yes.
Vinny,
Yes.
can you let me join? I have no money.
At the beginning, you can, because I know you.
I'm
But,
not talking
if I
about
wouldn't know
me.
You need fucking 100 zloty, man. Come on, kurva. Yes, religion is to make it.
God doesn't like that.
I need that. Kurva. I need that. I don't say any stupid things like it's for God.
This
It's
religion
for me.
is not going to work.
It's for me.
You need to have a better spokesman. You're giving up all your fucking.
I have to lie more, yeah? I have to fucking lie more, man.
You need a CEO. You need to fall back, man.
No, I don't
You're gonna
want to
ruin
lie
the
to
whole
the people.
religion.
I want to say some real shit. Maybe it doesn't work because the religion is more.
It might fall a little short as far as religions rank.
No, but really, what I would like to I would like to have a church, like a place, you know, where we could meet, and I would sometimes ask some rappers, you know, and come out with like 2 songs, you know, about some topic they want to discuss about this, and like, okay, today come to us our preacher, Alchemist, you know, and he will perform 2 songs for us about certain thing he want to talk about.
You sure you don't smoke weed?
Not anymore.
I think you need to smoke some weed, brother.
No, man, I can do this.
Shit.
And hey, come on. I will advise you to our ESSA church. What topics would you pick up to speak with the people?
Have you ever tried salvia?
Well, you mean about the weed?
It's another kind of weed. It's called salvia.
Probably I tried.
It's like a modest form of DMT.
Salvia.
I think you should try it.
Salvia.
I think you should try it.
I took only 2 hits and I was coming down into fucking coach and I was like, I don't know, but I did try mushrooms. Did you try mushrooms?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I've tried mushrooms. They're good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And what kind of this stuff like mushrooms or salvia, what you are into of this stuff? Acid or whatever?
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah?
It depends what party you're at, you know?
Okay. It's a party thing for you?
Yeah, party hard.
Yeah?
Play hard, party hard, work hard.
Okay, come on. You come into our church and you can pick some topic to talk with the people. What would you pick?
Global warming.
Yeah, for real?
Yeah, it's very important. You seem uninformed.
Okay.
And it's actually depressing me.
Well,
I feel
but you
deeply
say it for
inside,
real or you just
inside
kidding?
feel a little saddened that you are not aware of the issue of global warming and you don't place it high on your list of importance.
You don't know. Maybe I.
You're mentioning, you questioning in church. I say this is my first topic.
No, cool. Okay. So, what would you say to the people about this?
Give me some time to gather my thoughts.
Should we care?
I need some time to create a thesis.
Okay.
These things don't happen overnight. You want me to command a crowd of a church?
Mm-hmm.
You got to give me some time.
Okay.
Give me a minute. I'll get back to you on that.
Okay. Did the weather change in the States during your living?
Does the weather change?
Yeah.
They control it.
Yeah.
What?
They control the weather. They see the clouds, so it rains.
Okay, but did the weather change during?
Do you know who controls the weather?
Of course, Bill Gates.
Leor Cohen.
What?
Leor Cohen
Leo Cohen.
controls the weather.
Okay, I was thinking it's Bill Gates.
You're wrong.
Okay, I'm wrong with a lot of fucking things.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm here to help you out a little.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir. Did the weather change in the States during your living, guys? That's a real question.
It actually stays the same exact temperature 24 hours a day.
Okay.
Especially in Los Angeles. It's like 75.
All the fucking time.
Pretty much. They made a song called It Never Rains in Southern California. It's an old song.
That's because of that.
Well, it's true.
Okay.
It seldom rains.
For example, in Poland, the weather changes fucking hard during my life.
Really?
Yes. Right now we have, I don't know, like the hottest summer, I don't know, since 20, 30 years.
And guess what that is a direct result of? This is gonna blow your fucking mind, I'm telling you. We're
Come
gonna
on.
come full circle right here.
Okay.
You know, it's a direct
What's direct?
global warming. See what I mean?
Yes. That's because of that.
Yeah.
That's why I'm talking about this.
Yep.
It's in Poland right now in September. It would be normally it should be kind of cold, and you check it out. You go,
Yeah.
I got a fucking T-shirt, you know. And, it's crazy. And the winters was really hard, and right now it's fucking easy. It's if it's snowing, you know, maybe for 1 week or some shit, nothing more than that.
Yep. I hear you.
You don't have it, something like this in the States?
I haven't seen snow in a year.
What?
I haven't seen snow in a year.
Okay.
Shit.
Come on, kurwa, rap something.
That was insane.
Kurva, I will play you a beat. Kurva, give
got
some
nothing.
fucking rhymes.
I don't got nothing for you, brother.
You don't
I
want
don't got nothing for you.
Ah, fuck it. Not for me, just for fucking viewers, you know? You shouldn't
I
have
left
any
I left my lyrics at the hotel.
Kurva.
I have a bag. I have all my lyrics in it.
I can't believe you that you don't have something in your head.
Yeah.
You lost your head? No. There is. Over
Write a
here.
rhyme for me and I'll say it.
What?
If you write a rhyme while you're driving, write a rhyme and I say it.
But you what? You rhyme a rhyme which I
You write it, but you have to write it on a piece of paper while you're driving.
Ah, okay.
If you can do that, it'll impress me, and I'm gonna rap.
Okay.
No, it has to be with paper and pencil.
Wait, that you said right.
That's-
you didn't say it. Now you putting some new fucking conditions. Well, what the fuck?
That's what makes it special. Yeah, we don't write. Who writes on their phone?
I will write it on a fucking phone.
How old are you? 13?
Yes,
Come
I'm
on.
13. Yes,
You're a
sir,
grown
I'm
man. We write with a
13.
pencil and paper.
You write your fucking rhymes with a pencil and paper?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't use the telephone?
No.
A fucking phone?
No, write on paper
Why that?
with blood instead
blood?
of ink. Yeah.
With the blood of the virgin or
Goat.
just a regular person?
Blood of a goat.
What?
Blood of a goat.
Ah, okay. I was writing rhymes with the blood of the goats.
Oof. You're a legend.
Yes, because I wanted to be the greatest of all times.
I think you are. You're one of the best to me.
Oh, you know that I'm not. Hey, when you play a set, have you been thinking about like put a classic song from the country you are playing in?
Put a classic song from the country?
Yeah, like you play in Poland, for example. Have you been thinking like to ask somebody about some classic Polish song and to play it during the DJ set?
No, not really. But sometimes if you just get an idea and you're in a place and it makes sense, you do it, you know?
You know what? I think that if you would play during your set Molesta, wiedziałem, że tak będzie, people would get fucking crazy. That's
Okay.
my little advice to the foreign DJs, you know?
Okay.
I was at the premiere show like a few months ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, yeah, it would be great if you would play this, you know? If you would play just a beat and a chorus, people would get fucking crazy.
You know, there's one thing always, when all DJs, one thing they love the most. There's one thing, the requests.
Okay.
DJs love when people request a song. It's like one of the favorite thing of DJs.
Okay.
So I think that will work because that was a good request.
Okay.
Yeah, and I love requests.
But request is when they ask for something, or
Yeah, like a reference. Like, you know what, I'm going to request that you play this. What did you call it, a recommendation?
Molesta, wiedziałem, że tak
Yeah.
będzie. I knew
But
that it's
that
going to be like that. That's the name of the song.
Okay, yeah.
And it's a so classic song that if you would just play a beat, everybody would recognize it in a moment. Even young people, old people, everybody would know what the fuck it is, you know? And right now, the Metallica was in Poland and they played one song of Cora, that's the artist, which is already dead. A beautiful girl, which was doing a beautiful music. And the people got fucking crazy, you know? And they really appreciated this.
Amazing.
Yeah, when I saw it, you know, it was kind of funny because they was singing in Polish language, so which is fucking hard to them, you know.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Shout out to Metallica, man.
yeah, but they did shit like this. But you played a bit.
Remember the
with
Headbangers
Budka
Ball?
Suflera.
You remember the Headbangers Ball?
Headbangers?
Headbangers Ball with Ricky Rackman.
No, I know
It was
Headbanger from Redmond.
No, it was a show on MTV where they used to play only hardcore rock, and it was called Headbangers Ball.
Okay.
And that's where you would see videos from Metallica or Dokken or Twisted Sister. Do you know about Twisted Sister?
Not at all, man.
Oh, you're gonna need to do some research, man.
I have to.
Yeah, because you are a respected journalist.
I wouldn't call myself a journalist.
What do you think you're doing?
Conversation. I told you yesterday, it's not really an interview. It's just
Some would consider this as journalism. I'm not saying you do.
I'm not.
Elliot Wilson.
You can't always put a label on what you do.
Yes.
Do you take offense to that?
Do I take what?
Offense if somebody says you do journalism.
No, I'm not offended by this
Okay.
or anything like that. I'm just thinking that maybe I'm not. No.
Is that
I'm
a bad word? Is that a bad word?
No, it's not a bad word. It's point is I didn't study this. I'm not as good, you know, to call myself a fucking journalist, you know.
Are you a journalist? Are you eternal or an eternalist?
Returnal. What does it
That
mean?
was Rakim.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, that was a line from Rakim.
Okay.
Just bugging out right now, you know. Sometimes my mind gets vexed. And when my mind's vexed, lyrics just overflow, bars. But not mine. So don't ask for any rhymes.
So rhymes somebody else.
I just did. I just gave you a bar and a half of one of the greatest rapper of all time.
Rakim is the greatest,
Some would say.
and who you would say is the
I would say
greatest?
Rakim is a great argument, is the greatest of all time.
Okay. And who else?
I don't know. Who's your favorite of all time?
Redman.
Okay, it's a good one too.
Kurva Redman. I cannot fucking wait when he will put out some new shit.
You've made that clear.
But he always do it kurva very late, and always people have to wait on this, you know.
Would you jump out of planes with him?
What?
Would you jump out of a plane with Redman?
With Redman? Of course not. I wouldn't jump out of the plane with nobody. I would only do this if I would have to fight for my life, or I would, I don't know, would get a lot of money. But because of a lot of money, I don't know, would I jump out of the plane. You would jump out of the plane?
With Redman? Sure.
Yeah? You like to jumping out of the plane?
Well, I've never done it.
Would you jump out of the window with Ron Browns?
What's the Ron Brown?
Jumping out the window with... Come on, you don't know that song, son?
No, I don't know this song. Rap me this shit.
You say all this hip hop and you don't know who Ron Browns is?
Never heard of Ether?
No.
He's a legend.
Yes?
No joke. What?
Okay, I don't know.
Come on, Vinny.
Legend. You ever heard of Ether?
You ever heard a song called Ether? There's a song called Ether by Nas.
Yeah.
Wait. Have you ever heard of Nas?
Who is that?
But he doesn't know who Ron Browns is.
Only knows Redman.
He produced the beat Ether. Ron Browns.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Right now I remember. Yeah. This last guy, I heard him one
Yeah, he
time.
big tripping right now, man. You jumping out the window right now.
Yes? Okay. I will try.
We good? What happened? Something happened? Oh, he jumped out the window.
I was trying, but it's fucking hard, you know. I
He
couldn't.
jumped
fucking,
out the window.
I wanted to, really. You know, you asked me, I wanted to, but
I was concerned for your hat.
fuck hat, you know.
Jumping
hat,
out the
fuck hat.
window.
This guy has another camera. Forget changing the battery. You
Ye-
change the
How long are we going? We good? Let's check out the green light, brother.
Yeah, fuck. Okay.
I think this was a good interview, man. We got some goods. This is gonna be over in a minute, because that's it.
Polish
Yo,
kidnapping.
pull over at the next stop, all right?
Yeah, sure, guys.
They got what the hell are they building over here? We're really in the middle of nowhere.
building a crane.
Have you counted how many beats you made in your life?
Nah.
Have you counted with how many artists you was working with?
No.
No?
Never did that.
Have you been thinking how many shows you played?
I think about it often.
Did
I do
you
think
try
about it.
to count it? Like, okay, I do like, I don't know, 150 shows per year. So
I
so many years.
usually start counting and then like I just lose track, man.
What do you mean?
I just lose track while I'm counting.
Okay.
It's, you know, a lot of numbers.
Do the producers count the artists besides the lamps when they go to sleep?
Lamps?
Yeah, lamps. What you counting when you?
Oh,
people
lamb, sheep. Yeah, sheep.
Yeah,
All
sheep.
out jumping over the
talk?
bridge.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good way to go to sleep.
Yeah, like you counting the artists you was doing a song. Okay. Okay, I'm tired. I'm sleeping.
Or you could just count $100 bills in your sleep.
$100 bill, second $100 bill.
Or sheep. Count sheep. That's
Yeah.
good too.
Have you been counting the money you earned during your whole career?
No.
No?
Nope.
You never thought about this? How many cash you made on this rap shit?
Nah.
Nah.
I like this section though. This is like the numbers section of your interviewing. You know,
Numbers.
this is like the statistic. Yeah, everything is counting. Yeah, this is like the numbers section in the supermarket. In your supermarket.
Now I just don't have any questions, and I'm coming out
Listen,
with something. You know?
No questions. You're not a journalist.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. This is just a conversation, you know.
That's right.
So
I'm just
that's,
driving.
you know.
So when you drive in the car with your friends, normally, is this what you do to them?
Uh-huh.
You just fucking fake it?
Fucking up their fucking minds, you know. And when they ask me how quick you come from one town to the other,
How quick?
I tell them about eight talks by the phone and half an hour of audiobook. That's how fast you go from Szczecin to Warsaw, because I'm originally born in Szczecin, you know.
Nice.
You know where Szczecin is?
Nah, but you better answer that call, my brother.
No, fuck it, you know, I will call it later, you know.
My phone is dead. So here you go. Text Gotti.
Probably. Kurwa, who the fuck is that? Okay.
Man, my phone is dead. Oh well. I'll try.
Where you been travel with Action Bronson?
Everywhere.
Yeah? But not Poland.
I don't think we came to Poland. No, we didn't.
Oh.
I haven't been here with him, no.
You was in RPA? In, I think it's South Africa or something.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah? You have any stories about this trip with this guy? He looks like a kind of a funny person to me.
Yeah, he's the best. It's always fun when we travel. We do the most. You know that. Eat good. Experience.
Does it happen to you sometimes that you do music with somebody you don't have a relation with, and you don't feel him as a person, but you want to do music because, I don't know, he raps good or whatever?
Yeah,
Yeah?
sometimes.
And who in this rap business you got the best relation with? I'm talking about the people who you're doing with the music with.
Probably Johnny Salami.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
This
it's the guy I work with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably few people ask you this question, but I would like to
He's a
ask.
fixer.
A fixer?
Yeah.
What do you mean by fixer?
He fixes things.
Yes? He's a golden hand,
Do they have ice picks out here? You know what an ice pick is?
nice pickers,
An ice pick.
ice pick.
It's like, it's hard to explain, describe. He's
you-
good. He's good with those.
Okay.
that's sad. That's not even a gas station, right?
No, there's no gas station. We got like 279 more kilometers, and there's no gas station.
Okay, so pull over for me.
No, I cannot. We just drive till the fucking end.
Okay.
Okay, I can manage this. Yeah, of course I will stay. It will be a gas station in a fucking moment, I think so.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. So you can eat some of the best food you fucking like.
It is good. You'll never know till you try, man. You gotta stop eating beans for breakfast, though.
Yeah?
That's not doing you any good.
You didn't eat any breakfast today, or you ate one?
Yeah, we ate in the hotel, yeah.
Yeah, I've been in this hotel once, Red and Blue. They had a fucking great breakfast.
Oh, this guy's stuck.
Yeah.
This guy is stuck.
Yeah, what's the worst place you've been in a world? Have you been somewhere where you haven't been feeling comfortable, like it was a fucked up place?
No.
No? Every time everything is going kurwa cool?
Corazon, brother.
Pardon?
Corazon.
Corazon. Miłość.
You already forgot.
No, I remember. Miłość.
Newshed.
Miłość.
Everything is newshed.
Love.
Yeah, everything is noashed is noashed.
Miłość.
Yeah.
Can you pronounce it?
Miłość. You ever been to Serbia?
No. I was going there, but I stopped and decided to go to Amsterdam.
Really?
Yes. I was going
It's an interesting pivot.
to Serbia. I stopped in Wiedeń, in Vienna, and I decided, fuck, kurwa, this is Serbia, I go to fucking Amsterdam.
That's pretty crazy.
It was kind of because from my city to Amsterdam, it's a quicker way than from Vienna. So I went to Vienna to go to Amsterdam. It was kind of stupid.
Stop at this next one.
Yes, of course.
What do you think about marine life?
Marine life?
Yeah.
What the marine life is?
Like,
you mean
did
like,
you know dolphins have casual sex?
I heard that the dolphins are pretty mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
But they like to have sex just with not even for reproduction.
they just have it for fun.
Yeah.
Probably every animal have sex for fun.
That's not true, sir.
No?
No.
So you think that the ducks, when they have a sex, they always
For the
think
sake
about
of reproduction.
reproduction?
Ducks do with the sex.
What?
They're necrophiliacs.
Why that?
Ducks are necrophiliacs. You don't know what that is?
No. I know what necrophilia is, but I don't know why ducks do this.
Nobody knows to this day.
How do you know?
Yes?
They are.
Especially on the Isle of Galapagos.
So I
The
will
Galapagos Islands.
I will never eat a duck again.
Yeah, you probably should.
But that's probably I'm vegetarian.
Well, then you probably eat a lot of loganberries.
Loganberries?
You ever have a loganberry?
I don't know what it is.
It's like a myron berry.
Kurwa, I don't know what's berry.
You know how myron berries here either?
No. Please explain me this, what it is.
It's just a type of berry. Nothing fancy.
Nothing fancy.
Yeah.
Blueberries.
Blueberries, I know them.
Yeah.
Yes. I do appreciate them.
Well, what's your favorite snack?
Air.
Air?
Yes. I just breathe air, and that's my favorite snack. No, I try to follow you and your sense of humor.
I don't have. We're having a conversation, man. I'm not a comedian.
What?
You're not a journalist.
I'm not the journalist.
we're just talking here.
We're just talking here. That's fucking it, you know.
This was good. It's a little long, but this was fun. We got to enjoy the Polish countryside
Oh,
with
the
my
place,
man Big Wini.
big
Wini.
Yes, the place where you go is going to be a very nice countryside.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a sea, but everything around these cities are looking fucking good. You know?
I mean, we took you halfway. You're just not gonna go all the way.
What?
You're going halfway to the fucking place with us. You're not just gonna drive there?
No, I will just stop. I will put you out, and I will go back.
Okay.
You know? I just have to go tomorrow to the other place and then go to fucking work tomorrow. You know, so I got to be. Let's say.
Where's this exit at, brother?
Oh, that's another road. We're just looking for a gas station or whatever, you know. Okay, people, that was a strange conversation, but I hope you enjoyed it. If not, it's your problem.
I think this is gonna be your highest viewed one.
Yes,
That's my
so?
prediction.
All
right.
Okay, I hope.
If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Then, if it would be, then we would have to have more than 1 million views.
Let's
it
go.
would be fucking kurva great.
Who cares? Let's just do it. They can't stop us.
Never.
All right.
Never, fucking ever, you know. Do you like to produce beats with no percussion?
Yes. Absolutely.
I feel like it's a kind of a new energy right now, the beats like this, but not everybody feels this. No, it's just going to the other city. So, but there is a fucking hotel. Yeah, we can stay
right here
over
is good.
Here. Come on. Okay, so this
was a good one. We're gonna end it for real this time.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy.
Enjoy. ESSA.